I don't know, because even when you hit go, it's still a delay before it goes. You know.
Yeah, but if we had like a little timer for the timer, right? Because we've got a timer on now to show the show is starting soon.
Yeah.
But if we had a timer to say, here comes the
comes the
buffering
church.
feed before the green room. So the green room before the green room and the timer before the timer.
Is it a blue room or is it a red or yellow?
Yeah, no, we've got to do blue before green because blue screens were the technology before green screens. Yeah.
Well,
I
I was
like where we're
thinking
going
maybe
with
it's like
this.
the red room, which is when we get together and kind of set things in motion. It's the yellow room for,
No,
and then
no
it's the
red
green
rooms.
room. Okay,
No,
fine.
red rooms are for submarines and DEF cons and, like the battle
sure.
stations, everybody,
Okay, well, that's
and be
kind of
quiet.
it. Okay, fine, people. We are going
right.
to talk about, in this nice
Fine
little green
people
room
indeed.
here, something that was announced recently,
Yeah.
which is that Twitter actually made available their source code this past week for the algorithm.
That was
to the
really
world.
nice of them.
The algorithm. And so it is very interesting. So it's available for you to go look at on, I think, GitHub or someplace. I can't remember.
GitHub. Yep.
Yeah. But, and we have some analysis that was done, and some other people have done. But one thing that is interesting, that it appears that I think for the longest time people thought a retweet was worth more than a like. And then I even thought a reply was worth more than a like. Like, so, because you're getting engagement, right?
Yeah.
It's worth more that someone typed something out rather than just clicking like. However, it appears that it is much more impactful to get likes than retweets and then replies. So each like gets a 30 times boost in visibility. Each retweet gets 20 times. Which means likes are better than retweets, and then each reply only one time. So a like is 30 times as impactful than a reply. What do you think about that?
Well, I prefer a retweet because it helps to show what you're tweeting. It's a message. It's a thing that is more engaging than just looking down and going, huh, that's got a lot of thumbs. So, yeah, I would expect it to be the other way around.
Yeah.
That-
And
yeah.
it also, images and videos do help. You get a 2 times bonus for that. However, links hurt unless you have enough engagement. If you get engagement, then links help. But if you have a link
Okay.
without the engagement, it actually hurts you.
So it takes away from your... Oh, dear.
It's like it's as if you have a link, those people that follow you, if they give you enough likes, then it actually helps that there's a link there. Anyway, there's so much more in there, and I think I will. If you follow me
Just
on
drop
Twitter,
it in the live chat.
yeah, I will. And if you follow me on Twitter as well, I'll
There you go.
I'll give you some. That it's an interesting thread. So
The source is there in the live chat for those who are interested.
Yeah.
Anyway, on with the show. On with the podcast. No, that's a completely different thing.
hello everyone. We are on episode 279. I am Daniel. And that over there, he's on the other side today.
That over there.
That
We talked about
person
this.
over there. Yes, we did.
You said to me before, who dis? And I'm not dis, I'm dat.
That is.
I'm Daryl.
or
I'm
dis
Daryl.
is-
Daryl.
This is. That is. Anyway, yes, that is Daryl over there. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We have some interesting topics to cover today. We covered a little bit in the green room, some interesting things around the Twitter algorithm. So if that interests you, maybe jump in and watch the beginning of the show on YouTube. But thank you for joining. And while you're here, I know Daryl's going to hate this again, but go ahead and give us a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button so that you can get updates on when we go live and when we post videos. I will give it an update. Someone mentioned last week that there was an issue where we were posting shorts on YouTube, and every time we'd post one, everybody was getting a ding, and it was like, I already watched the show, and so getting a ding every time there's a short maybe isn't the greatest. So we're going to manage that a little better, so that you don't get dings every time we post a short, but only occasionally.
Someone was complaining about that. They can't get enough of us, or they've had enough of us.
I think they had enough of us. They were like, so let's get on more people on the train for being tired of us. And the only way that people are going to get tired of us is if you share this episode, this podcast. If you share the audio or video out on the socials, in your emails, however you want to share, you want to print up some postcards or business cards,
leaflet
and hand
drops,
them out, leaflets,
mouse
whatever.
Pads, screensavers.
As long as
it sounds like an adoption campaign.
I let's go for it. So if you want to do that, let us know. We can help. Anyway, make sure you tag us on the socials at 365MCS, and so we can amplify you as well. Daryl, is it okay if we go ahead and just start off with the kind of the headline, as we go on today? Can we just start off with that and talk about offline meetings in Teams? Isn't Teams a online meeting?
Yes,
platform?
it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. And I had to double check the date on this, because we did have another favorite event every year when we get all sorts of creativity and chuckles. Offline meetings in Microsoft Teams MC 535261 was published on the 1st of April. No, it wasn't. Well, it should have been, because that was clickbaity, right? Offline meetings in Teams. Fantastic, yes. Does that mean that I don't actually have to attend, or how do we attend this
internet access?
offline? Yeah, it's cached. It's a cached meeting. It's called a downloaded recording, and you can attend it. And actually, we've got something there. This is not what it is. It's actually got nothing to do with attendance so much as it is about not adding the Teams meeting link and feature to a appointment. We've been able to go into our calendar in Teams on the desktop, on a mobile. And whenever we create a meeting, by default, every time entry in that calendar, and everything that's created there has a Teams meeting added to it. Now we're going to be able to add regular old appointments, offline meetings, or also known as appointments, for within the Teams app. So it's just, I guess, one step more along to not using email for calendar management, although I think people still will, because it's got a lot of cool features. So that's about it, Daniel. It's quite a short one, but as I said, it felt a bit clickbaity. Would you find this useful?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those features that Teams calendars has had or lacked from Outlook calendars, which is I want to create a hold on my calendar. I want to have focus time. I mean, I just watched a video about how setting aside time to actually do your tasks is one of the biggest productivity, if not the number one productivity tool for those that are those high performers. But we haven't been able to do that in Teams, except for we would create a meeting and it would have a Teams meeting, So I think my personal opinion is that I would like the Teams calendar interface to look a lot more like the calendaring in Outlook. That's just my opinion. And so this is one of those features. So I'm glad.
Why not even bring the Outlook calendar into Teams?
I don't have a reason why they shouldn't. In my mind, I know there's probably one, but I just feel like, wouldn't it be great to just take that and put it as the Teams calendaring experience? Now, there's going to have to be additions, right?
Yeah.
Meeting settings and, webinar things. And I get it, but wouldn't it be great just to say, here it is. This looks like Outlook. Yeah, isn't it great? So. Yep.
So that is going to be rolling out late May to standard release. GCC High, GCC, DoD, Department of Defense. Will begin rolling out early July. No impact? Nah. It's going to be impact, like when someone's in Teams and they want to say dentist appointment, but they don't want to be inviting people to that. Oh, and my favorite, Daniel, is when people book out of Office and they leave like the Teams meeting link in there because it's an automatic thing. And I always reply with a smart aleck comment like, is this going to be a live streamed holiday or something? I mean, can we join, or maybe not? Well, Daniel, I want to. I left this next one to you because I felt like if I had covered this message, it would not come across genuinely, given that I don't spend a lot of time on this product. Do you know what I'm talking about, Daniel?
I think you're a genuine person, and I think it's okay that you cover things that maybe you don't use all often. However,
At all.
Okay. However, I will take it. This is Pen Workspaces is now available. MC 534307. Now, if you didn't pay attention to the service, the service column showing you that this was about Power BI, you would go, what workspace? What are you talking about? Because we have other kinds of workspaces. This is Power BI Workspaces, which, if you are familiar with Power BI, this is where you kind of containerize your content. It is where your data sets are. It's where your reports are. It's where you do your dashboards. It's all in a workspace. And so you're given a My Workspace by default, and then other workspaces, and that's where you kind of manage content to share with others. Well, now you're able to pin your workspaces, just like you can pin things in Teams, for instance. You can pin a team to where it shows at the top. Same thing for workspaces here. So those that you normally, maybe you have dozens and dozens of workspaces, but you only use 2 or 3 regularly, you can go ahead and pin those so you can get easy access to those. So this will be rolling out and it completed by early April, which is, nowish for everybody. And, it's pretty simple, easy to do. Even I figured it out on the first time. It's in my targeted release tenant now already. So I don't think there's going to be any issues here with people having a hard time figuring this one out. However, it is simply, you right click on it and there'll be a pin. And you can pin it and it shows up. And when you're done with it, you right click on it and it says unpin. And then guess what? It unpins it. So simple, right? I mean, it's a very simple update. However, I think it's very important for the organizational behaviors of those that are using Power BI.
Certainly. Kind of a long time coming, right? Because we've been able to pin things in all sorts of places.
Absolutely. So let's keep moving along. And Daryl, I'd like to talk about topics.
Me too. Me too. I like topics.
Where can I find people who are experts in topics? Like what? How can I do this?
Well, what you do is you turn to the person next to you and say, "Do you know anyone who knows about?"
There's no one here.
No. Let's dive into that ugly 50-layer org chart and try and figure out who we should talk to here. No, we use Microsoft Topics if you've got that enabled in your environment, and I'll just say something quickly here too. Like, sure, it's it is an additional product, but I think out of all the Viva ones, I think this would be my next pick to enable and make that suite actually worth it because of the time that you might save in this very scenario. So Microsoft Viva display connected topics on people profile cards, now available dub. That's worldwide. I had to ask Daniel that in our preparation because I wasn't sure. But picture this. You are sort of looking at someone's profile card for some reason, maybe looking for their contact details, and you see, well, check it out. They're an expert in this topic. Maybe I'll check out and see what they have contributed to that topic. Or I know that for next time, I'll ask them about this. So back to your question, Daniel, how would I find someone who knows about a topic? That's kind of the reverse end of that search, where we search for the topic and then we go, these are the people that have been associated as subject matter experts with this topic. That the feature here is kind of the reverse of that, where I'm looking at someone's contact card and I see, oh, they're an expert in this, so well, I'll remember to ask them next time. So this, Daniel, it's available in Outlook and other web apps. Now, that means that it's not available necessarily on other desktop apps, and it's all about, displaying the contact card with that content. I'm sure it'll catch up eventually. It's and from those contact cards too, I think you can click through to the topic. So if I was looking at your card, Daniel, in our organization, I say, oh, look at this. He knows all about SharePoint. He knows all about getting started with Viva. So I'll click on that topic and go through to see the content that you may have contributed to.
Yep, absolutely. I feel like that is a key component in understanding not just who this person is, but what they know and what their experience is. For those organizations that are using topics, this is perfect, right? I'm looking at someone, I see, their title, department, great, some of their content, that I have access to, but what are those topics that they're experts in? And I think this is a great addition to the profile card.
Well, one thing I just noticed here too in the message, that it will appear on the people profile card as a SharePoint web part. So I'm building an intranet at the moment, and we're using SharePoint sites to represent a business group and sort of saying who they are and what they do, and that's perfect, right? Here's the business group, here's the people that work in there, and the various different things, and just hover over them and see the topics that they're contributing to. Anyway, so whoops, what was that? Oh, I just wiped away my view of my messages. We were getting ready to.
That's amazing.
Getting ready to.
We're going to talk about some improvements.
Yeah, you might want to improve my behavior with the back button.
I love it. This is improvements to @mentioning behavior on Viva Engage, MC534736. And first of all, there are no screenshots on this message. Okay.
Oh.
Second of all, there's no help or content around a blog post or support page. We just get words and no links, except, there's a roadmap link, but it doesn't bring any value whatsoever. So go ahead and click that thumbs down button, everybody, and say, this does not help me prepare for change, and say, hey, I need some information. That's what I'm going to do. So now back to the actual intent to this message. This is, when using Engage now, and remember, Engage is what Yammer is being renamed to, right? Rebranded. So this message is all about when I'm @mentioning someone, I'm not going to have to actually @mention them. I can just use their first name, last name, and it'll do a search for me. Now, I think the service that I've seen this used a lot is actually Facebook. That's the first time I think I've seen it. You can, when you're typing a reply to somebody, if you start typing a name, it kind of recognizes that it's a name of your friend or whatever. So this is similar to that, I believe, since we have no screenshots or additional information. So this is coming for standard release, begin rolling out mid-April, and completed by late April. It does not have any information about targeted release, so I don't know if that's happening or not, or if they're just kind of releasing it to everyone, but it seems like that's the case here. So what do you think about this, Daryl, on not having to @mention someone, just kind of typing their name? Is this something that you need to let people know about? What do you think about adoption here on this?
We consistently use @mention to mention people, so that's good because that's the experience across a lot of different products in Microsoft 365. Is this going to be the first of others that will adopt the same thing? I think I would like to see both use, and I'm sure both do use, that you mention and then you type a name. As you're typing a name and it's suggested, cool, that's fine. But what if you're typing a person's name that also happens to be a noun, like Justice? I think Justice is a person's first name, and there are some people's first names that kind of marry up with other words you might type. Probably not so frequent. Useful feature, yep.
I think so. You're exactly right on the whole. You just have to watch what you're doing, you know, because you might say something and actually tag someone you don't mean to. So
Yep.
That should be coming. I don't have it in my targeted release tenant right now, so again, I don't know what they're doing on schedule-wise, but shows that it is happening this month for everyone for production. So, yeah. So let's switch to Teams, because we haven't talked about Teams at all for this episode.
Oh, you're so right. Yeah. This one actually had me guessing. Like, don't we already have this thing already? Microsoft Teams Speaker View in Teams meetings is MC534743. No, I was getting confused with, when you're sharing some content and or rather when someone speaks and you get the little surround, the purple surround that shows who's talking, and people get switched around in the gallery. That's not it. Yeah, I just did something very Irish there. Anyway, after introducing what the feature isn't, I'll tell you what the feature is. If we scoot on down to our screenshots, yes, screenshots this time, we have someone who is currently speaking in the meeting stage, right? So this is where you would normally present content, and that's going to switch around depending on who's talking. Now, it is a view that you change to. Let's maybe just take a closer look at this particular picture. Jump on over here. You'll see over in our views, we've got gallery, together, large. Speaker view is this view, where I personally choose that as my view so that I can focus on who is speaking. And that's cool because it means that it's nice and big. It also means, Daniel, that it prioritizes and renders a higher quality image because, as you probably know too, the gallery images are not as high priority as shared content, for example. If I'm sharing my screen, that's going to be given more priority. It'll look better. It's higher resolution. And so when you're using Speaker View, this will actually follow the same rules. Because they're on the stage, they're going to appear to be whatever resolution they're managing to send via Teams. Could be HD, could be a little less, depends on your internet connection. But Daniel, do you see this being useful for meetings? And would you change to this view?
I absolutely would. I'd like to get I like that higher quality image notion of being able to see a little bit more in detail, especially if, there's some sort of interaction part, someone's holding something up or whatever. But it seems like to me, if someone has the stage, quote unquote, right, they're talking, then it would be great to have that image of that person front and center, larger and high resolution. The biggest thing I think you have to think about here is how is this going to work with content being shared? And I don't think that's the target here. The target here is people talking and being able to showcase this in a way that
It's good you bring that up because two things. It does actually help that transition from this speaking view through to content because the stage is already being used. So if you are a speaker and you're about to switch to a shared desktop or PowerPoint Live, for example, that stage is already there. So they say it's a seamless experience. But the other thing about this, it's your personal view. And as a presenter or someone facilitating the meeting, I'd actually like to be able to choose this for the view that everyone sees so that we can bring focus to the person who is speaking. And then when we go to share content, it's there in the stage. I think that would be a next feature request to extend on this. But yeah, that's kind of useful in terms of being able to focus yourself on the active speaker. Was there anything else to say there? No, I think that was about it. So that is going to be targeted release early April, standard release early May, GCC High and DoD in late May. There you have it.
Awesome.
Now, what's next?
That's a very good question, and one that I think a lot of people should ask. No, I'm just joking. The next is SharePoint. So this is, I think, an interesting and very useful functionality. SharePoint. Create pages and news from the SharePoint app bar. MC535266. And this is, if for those that use the SharePoint app bar, which is probably most of you, unless you've delayed it, is going to add a new item. And this one, guess what, people, has great screenshots. I think I know who created this, and thank you very much for doing it. So we're going to be able to click the plus sign and create a new news post or page. And what this is going to do is give you, on the current site that you're on, if you have edit permissions, if you have permissions to create content, then it's going to show the current site as something, that you're going to be, where you're going to be creating the news. But maybe you don't want to create the news there. You want to create it on another site. Well, it's going to show recent sites for you for creating content that you have permission to create content on, as well as the ability to search for a site. So that's great. It's not that, picker where you have to pick and say more. You can just search and say, I want to create this on the legal team site or the what's happening site or whatever. And you could create it there, select the site and create it from this window, no matter what site you're on. And this could be on, as long as you're on a SharePoint site, it doesn't matter, right? You can create content, that news or a page, anywhere on any SharePoint site that you have permissions to do that. So I think you do need to, let your users know about this, because I think it will, for those creating content, it does, I think it makes it easier. I think it makes their life easier. You don't have to go to that site anymore. You can just say, oh, I need to create a news, go for it right now. So I think that's awesome. So that's going to be rolling out early April, so nowish, and for target release, and completed by mid-April, and then for standard release, late April through mid-May. So again, I am excited about this one because I think it's going to make it easier for people to just create that information wherever they are. Yeah, what do you think?
Daniel, I think the natural extension here too, if we're adding it to the app bar, is adding it to other places. Maybe somewhere in Teams, or maybe we're in Outlook. How we can start a engage post from Outlook now. Well, hey, I've got an inspiration for a news page. I want to, instead of typing up this massive email, which I'm going to send to a distribution group, maybe I want to create a news page. And so I'll do that in the flow of work right there.
Indeed. So coming soon to a browser near you.
Ha ha ha.
Ha ha.
Daniel, have you used the Teams video clip before to communicate a short message in video form to a team member?
Absolutely, I have.
Yeah? How often do you use it? You like it?
I do. I need it to be longer.
Yeah, sort of, right? I think the point here is that if it's a short message, a bit like the voice messages, voice clips that you can also record your voice.
Yeah.
Like, it's a play button in a chat, and I can't glance at it quickly and see what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same thing in a sort of with this feature here, that we could create video clips, but you couldn't really kind of glance and see, okay, well, you could see who, but you couldn't read and see what. This is a Teams video clip, auto-generated captions. Now the message is updated because it was published last week, and then 2 days later they made a adjustment to the timeline, which can happen, does happen, and it's your regular warning to not ignore updated messages in your message center. Could be recent, could be as recent as this afternoon. Just saying. MC534735. I can see Daniel using that content for a short. I can tell, you cheeky man.
No, so I'll tell you my story. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll tell you my story with this about.
Go on.
Well, it's just that, you're talking about, it needs to be short. I agree with you. However, before I was going on a trip, I needed to give an update to my team with some instructions.
Yep.
And it took 5 clips to do it. Now, it was the right method for me. It was the right medium. We already had a chat going. We had content in there. It was the right medium to do it. And typing it out did not give inflection. It did not give emphasis. It did, like.
Were you doing it from your phone or your desktop?
Desktop. And so doing all that it didn't give me what I needed. And so it's a minute limit. And so I had to do it 5 times. And it would be nice to be able to extend it. It would be nice to go have a prompt to say, hey, maybe you shouldn't make it this long, but let me override it. Anyway, that's my frustration.
I like that. I like that.
Anyway.
And that's got me thinking too, like this, maybe it would be great to also share the screen while you're doing that video clip. If you wanted to quickly share an instruction, it's just a short thing, but you want to add that to chat and not make some meeting out of it that you're going to record. Wow, we've gone off topic, but we're on topic because there is a genuine need there, and I think you raised it as a good use case too. So the thing about this is that the whole purpose of this message is adding audio captions, because we're looking at these messages, and sometimes or often it is from our phones, and we're checking them out, and I don't really want to dial up the volume because it's Daniel telling me that I'd better get it right this time when he gives me this instruction. He's not like that. He's not like that. No. But, auto captions along the bottom. I can read it. I can see what the message is about. I can see the emotive way that it might be delivered. Get it right this time. I think that's a good thing. Now, let's see. It's about closing the accessibility gap. What is it called? TVC. So here if you want to get in the know, the Teams team call this the TVC feature. Then you can download the captions. Only the creator can download the captions, and users can delete the captions by delete the video clip. All right. Anyway, this is rolling out to targeted release early April now-ish. Previously late March, so that would be before-ish. In standard release, rolling out mid-April. And what's our last message, Daniel? I think it's in the SharePoint corner again.
Before-ish. I like that. Microsoft Viva SharePoint content on Office.com and Edge new tab page feed shows related Viva topics. That is a compound sentence or something. I don't know. It needs some work. MC535703. Now, what this is yet another message with no screenshots and yet another message with no additional information for us to figure stuff out. So what I think this is when you go to office.com, although I'm kind of interested, it's interesting that they said office.com and not Microsoft365.com. So anyway, that feed that you see there of content, stuff that's going on, they're saying here SharePoint content that's going to be shown there that has Viva Topics on that content will now have a topic pill alongside those items to show you, hey, this item has these topics in it. Now, of course, this requires topic license. So yes, that is true. But I I think this is great. I really do, because the more we see, if you're using topics, you want it to show up in different places. You want it to be used and utilized. So I'm liking this update. I just wish I knew what it was going to look like, because there's no screenshots. But targeted release late March, which was before-ish, and expected to complete early April, so now-ish. Standard release early April through mid-April. I will say I went and tested it yesterday, and I didn't have information there, so I'm not sure if maybe my topic stuff wasn't being picked up, or I don't know what's going on, but it was not showing up for me. So just to let you know, Daryl is doing a quick view of his content, and
Nope.
don't see anything in there either. So I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see hey, this has been updated to kind of delay the rollout, but maybe we're just missing something. So,
Well, I think you brought up in our prep that the feed, the algorithm there and what it displays, it might not actually be displaying based on my activity the kinds of items that would show the pill. This is a Word document that one of my demo users has been working on, but I mean, I'd like to see the pill there about a topic that is assigned to a document, but maybe it's not assigned to documents, it's assigned to pages in SharePoint.
yeah, don't know.
Right. Well, that was the show. Thank you for hanging with us all and checking out the various bits and pieces that have changed in the Message Center over the week. There was quite a bit, wasn't there, Daniel? We are selective, and sometimes we don't have a lot to select from, and sometimes we have a lot to select from.
Yeah, that's right. We tried to bring the best quality of information to you, and just want to remind you that while we are a resource, we want to help you along the way. Make sure you're in there looking at these messages. And if you have questions, tag us at 365MCS along the way. Whether we cover it on the show or not, we're here to help you out. Love to dive in and really figure things out with you. So please let us know.
Definitely. So until next time, see you for episode 280 next week.
Ooh, yeah, indeed.
See you then.